Wait, okay, good. So let's just start. Houses are the areas of life. Zodiacs are what is happening in those areas of life, and planets are how it is happening in those areas of life. For example, let's take the first house of self. Now we know that this house is the first area of life, which is self. Now, which zodiac sign is in the first house of self? It can be any zodiac sign, but I'm taking an example of Cancer over here. Anyways, so whoever has Cancer in their first house, the zodiacs in her houses represent what is happening. So Cancer tells that nurturing and caring is happening here in the first house of self. Now that you know that, planets tell us how it is happening in. For example, let's take an example of Venus. Venus tells that, oh, you like house tells that you look very beautiful. Yep. Whoever has Venus in the first house, they look very beautiful because Venus represents beauty and the first house represents self. Anyways, no, you aren't supposed to see this yet. Actually, yeah, see this. So, how are the houses calculated? Well, here are how the house is calculated. First of all, houses do not move, their appearance just changes for some reason. And houses are like some area of life. Like take a section of the sky, it will always be a house. For example, if you take this section of the sky, then it will be the first house, and so on. Now, anyways, the first house is the house of self. Second house is the house of money and values. Third house of communication. Fourth house of home life and family. Fifth house of fun, happiness, and kids. Sixth house of plan and health. Seventh house of marriage and love. Eighth house of mystery and magic. Ninth house of adventure and travel. 10th house of work life. 11th house of friends. And 12th house of mental health. So, yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're wondering why this little circle is in the middle, I will tell you why this circle is in the middle in the future videos. Anyways, as I was saying, now I'm gonna explain more about houses. Because I know that just by telling the houses names and what they represent, you can't work with houses. Because I know I told you that houses were the areas of life and all that blah blah blah, and told you what the houses represent, but that is not enough to read a birth chart. What is enough to read a birth chart is to know the planet meanings and the zodiac meanings and the houses meanings and see how they correspond with each other and blah blah blah. Anyways, so guys, apply the houses are areas of life and planets are so guys, apply zodiacs tell what is happening in houses. Houses are areas of life and planets tell how it is happening. Apply that to all of the houses and you will automatically be a professional astrologer. But before doing that, memorize all the zodiac and planet meanings in my part 2 of this series. Anyways, I told you how the zodiac houses are calculated, but now you will learn about the 4 angles. The 4 angles are MC, also known as midheaven, ASC, also known as ascendant, also known as rising sign, DSC, also known as descendant, also known as descending sign, and IC, also known as Ikili. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. Anyways, MC, guys, these are not houses, these are angles. These are the ASC, these are where the specific, I don't know how to say this, but MC, but these 4 angles are separate from houses. Like, these four angles are like, you can say they're points. You can say that they are random points here to tell you stuff. Any stuff. But anyways, let's start. Let me explain this. ASC is always in the first house, okay? ASC, also known as ascendant, also known as rising sign, is always in the first house. This is why first house is also known as rising sign. That's right, first house is also known as rising sign. Seventh house is also known as descending sign. 10th house is also known as midheaven. And fourth house is also known as home and family. But houses do have their opposites. So opposite of first house is 7th, opposite of second house is 8th, opposite of third house is 9th, opposite of fourth house is 10th, opposite of fifth house is 11th, opposite of 6th is 12th, opposite of 7th is 1st, and so on. So yeah, anyways, let me start explaining. Now, your ascendant and your first house are the same thing. Your ascendant and your first house are not different things. They are the same thing. The ascendant and first house represent your true personality. Basically, ascendant is equal to first house. This descendant, however, is always in the 7th house. Descendant and 7th house are same. They are not separate. But descendant represents about people in your life, but seventh house only represents about marriage and love. So descendant represents people in your life. For example, my descendant is Scorpio. This means most of the people in my life are either Scorpio risings, Cancer risings, Pisces risings, Pisces moon, Pisces sun, Cancer moon, Cancer sun, and so on. Basically, water sign placements. By the way, placements in astrology mean sun, moon, and rising. Yeah. So IC is your true personality. IC is how you actually behave. But to understand IC, you will have to learn MC first. MC is also known as the midheaven. MC, midheaven, can be in the 11th house, 10th house, and 9th house, okay? Your midheaven, which is your MC, can be in the 11th, 10th, or 9th house. But midheaven is most commonly in the 10th house. In fact, 90% of the population has their midheaven in the 10th house. Yeah. Anyways, midheaven represents what people think about you. If you want to know what people think about you, go to midheaven. And IC represents IC is opposite to the midheaven. That's right. IC is opposite to the midheaven. So yeah, IC is opposite to the midheaven. IC represents your true personality. Because what people think about you is not your true personality. In fact, if you want to know your true personality, just look at your IC and ASC. So anyways, your IC is always in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th house. Now that I explained you all these, can you tell me what Leo in the 1st house with Saturn in the 1st house all means? Tell me what Leo rising Jupiter 1st house means. In the comment section, of course.